Congratulations on being selected as one of the fair few privileged with the task of feeding the Enterprise. At Lethal Company, we believe that life exceeds through hell and labor. Each and every member has a responsibility to fulfill their quota for the good of the company. Not only does meeting the requirements make them happy, but it makes us happy too. Lifelong friendships await you and your crew as you embark on this exciting endeavor together. As a new member of this operation, you'll quickly learn that there's strength in numbers. The more the merrier, as we've come to find out, because as it turns out, there's benefits to keeping dangerous company. The two of us have seen lots of people playing this game lately on our Discord server and decided to jump in when we could and see what it was all about. When we tried to play on our own, we couldn't quite figure it out, but we could tell we were missing something. As it turns out, we just didn't know how to play. After joining in with our Discord, we realized pretty quick that when it comes to this game, the more company, the better.
A little bit, yep.
Oh, we have to bully the new intern.
Oh, yes.
I'm afraid that the intern.
Working for Lethal Company is pretty straightforward. Life has been boiled down to pillaging bunkers to meet our junk quota. There might be some casualties along the way, but nothing a little ice cream can't fix.
Yeah.
Ice cream!
More ice cream.
More ice cream.
Of course, treats cost money and also dig into our profits. Unfortunately, corporate isn't terribly thrilled when we fail to meet our quota.
As you have not met the profit
Oh God!
your performance has been deemed below standard. Welcome to our disciplinary process.
Disciplinary process? Oh, we were jettisoned into space. Oh no.
We're fired!
What an odd game.
To be honest, I don't think they're that impressed when we meet it either, though. I'm ringing a bell.
Oh God! What? Taryn is dead.
What was that? I heard it.
It said we were in a safe zone!
Oh God.
Still, nothing brings a group of friends together like dancing over the ragdoll corpses of the ones that didn't make it. Hey look, it's my body. This game relies on its proximity chat, so if you see a group of people muted in Discord, you have a pretty good idea what they're playing. The proximity chat is part of what makes things so fun, and because of it, communication is key. Just looking at the game, you'll notice that visuals aren't exactly its strong point. That just makes sound all the more useful when navigating as a group.
Okay, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good.
I think so.
Wait, no, we're not. We are not good. I can tell you that much.
We lost someone. We lost two people. Shit. I'm gonna make a run for it. Fuck this, I'm out.
I'm following you, I'm following you. Where do we go?
I don't know.
As people get further away, their voices grow fainter and fainter, and if you wander off, then eventually you won't be able to hear them at all. It's incredibly easy to get lost since visibility isn't great, and the hallways all start to look the same after a while. Sound is really the best thing to go off of when you get turned around, and even then, the echoing off the walls can make you doubt yourself.
Another key.
Did you guys go upstairs?
No, we're in we're here.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Getting lost is bad enough, but it gets worse when calling out for help attracts the wrong kinds of attention. If losing all sense of direction wasn't creepy enough, then realizing you aren't alone will certainly put a damper on the evening.
Come through.
I've got very little light.
Are there two of them?
Okay. Yeah, there's two of them. Go through the door straight.
It's a real shame how your own voice works against you when you're being chased by hungry dogs. What was once my greatest tool becomes my greatest weakness, as needing to keep quiet to ward off unwanted attention is impossible while screaming. What is out here? Oh, there's dogs.
Hi, Taryn.
Of the plethora of nightmares to be found on these distant moons, they all have different ways to deal with them. Unfortunately, they're all very picky about their hostility, and it can be a challenge to keep track of. My instinct with all of them is to just run away screaming, but for the safety of the group, I have to swallow my fear.
Drop it, no! Teleport him!
It doesn't help that the monsters are so wishy-washy and want conflicting things from you. Like an on-again, off-again girlfriend, some of them are like, don't look at me, while others are like, don't stop looking at me.
Come to me. Nice.
Right.
Okay.
Right again.
Okay.
Left.
Got it.
Go back. Right.
Oh.
Nick dead?
Did he?
There's nothing more terrifying than traveling in a pack before getting charged by some pissed off alien.
You type in J. Hear them.
Oh, spider! Shovel, shovel.
Wow!
Oh god! He has Alpha! What do I do?
Uh-oh.
Shit, I'm running!
Pick up the shovel!
The group scatters like ants to all corners of the map, and when the dust finally settles, all that's left is a wiggling cocoon.
Hi, Alpha.
Hi, Alpha.
There's strength in numbers, but a larger group also creates more panic. I can't tell you how many times we'd each duck around a corner and turn around to realize half the group was missing.
It's a thumper. Guys.
What are we doing?
Run back over here. Get on fence, Oh no! Nice, he's dead.
What just happened?
Anyone still have the
He's dead. Where did everyone go? Where did Alpha go?
I have no idea. I just turned around.
Did he fall? Did he fall? I think he fell.
Oh no.
Possibly more horrifying than the monster itself is the silence that follows. Once the smoke is cleared, there's always that awkward moment of contemplating whether or not to ask if anyone else is alive. Oftentimes I have to ask myself if it's even worth the risk of making the monster angry again. What I'm even more afraid of is potentially being alone and not hearing anyone respond. It's probably best to let someone else be the bait, because I've seen enough horror movies to know that as the girlfriend, I'm supposed to either die first or last. What is that noise? I think he's still gonna try and teleport us back because like everyone else is dead. Oh, bye! Oh god. It's bad enough that the aliens are out to get us, but our recklessness as a group strongly impacts our chances of survival too.
Hey guys, I'm gonna risk it for the
The thing we forgot?
No, for the beehive.
Oh.
Oh, they're angry. They're angry.
Close the door. Go. Who cares? Go.
We're missing somebody.
What happened?
I think he's dead.
We
Lost a
lost
brave
that?
soldier.
It's always way too tempting to push a little further and dig a little deeper for just one more piece of scrap. If an area feels a little too safe, then it's easy to let your guard down and get complacent. Among the colorful ways I found to die in Lethal Company, the occasional jump puzzles contributed to a large portion of my casualties. Regrettably, it also killed a lot of our friends.
It killed Alpha too!
Yes, despite the hostility from the locals, we all knew the real hazard was falling.
I'm gonna make a jump. If I don't make it, see ya.
Well, see
You didn't
ya.
make it. See ya. I don't know why you keep on missing the jumps.
Luke, do you want me to light for
He
you?
brought the big boat with him. Damn him. Got the big boat.
There you go. No! We just lost Loot too, Nut.
On an excursion, we found that it was usually good to split the roles amongst the squad, especially with a larger group. Going and kitted with weapons and flashlights is nice, but if everyone's got them, then there's less room to carry the goodies. Each teammate has a job to fulfill, even if it means being a pack mule for all the treasure. It's a bit riskier only bringing one weapon, because if someone dies with it, then we might all be defenseless, but it's a gamble we're willing to take for more money.
Is that how that's supposed to work?
Yes. Oh. That's Anyways, I don't think we should go that way, guys.
Another good reason to spread out the resources is because if you die with them, chances are they aren't making it home anyways. Just make sure whoever has the shovel knows how to use it. Hit him!
Thank you.
Hit him!
Hit both. Keep hitting the...
Nice.
Oh my god! Oh no! Blood for the blood god!
For what it's worth, the strategy was pretty flawless when the group sticks together, although it's much easier said than done. Unfortunately, getting separated happens more than it probably should, whether it's because the loot goblins like to run ahead and ambush shinies, or that I lag behind because I'm scared of the dark. The group tends to spread itself out pretty thin.
Wait, it's coming up, it's coming up.
Oh my god, what is that thing? Varian, stay over there. Ah! I don't know how it always happens, but somehow it's always the people with the flashlights that end up together, and the people without are left wandering around in the dark.
So. Whoa, we're not ready.
Wait, what's going on? Where?
Darn, we're gonna die.
Shit. Arguably, the most laid-back role in an excursion is that of mission control. I really enjoy being in charge of the tech because I get a break from being scared out of my mind in a bunch of dark hallways. You get to oversee the group from the comfort of working from home. At the helm, the terminal user's responsibilities range from opening and closing doors, communicating when danger's around the corner, and getting confused when the person with the radio disappears from the radar.
It's 11, 12. You guys probably not making it back.
Not with that attitude.
It's always a toss-up when you put me in charge of the terminal.
You know not what you're signing up for, but yeah, let's do it.
Have you ever used DOSBox?
Huh? I've been told that I can get a little creative with how I give instructions over the radio, and it doesn't help that I don't get clearance to use my walkie-talkie lingo beforehand. Although, the heart of a role player cannot be stilled, and I'm committed to my craft.
Radio check.
Checking in.
Sound good?
Over. Any notes for us?
No, clear pretty much.
Perfect. Over.
Yep.
Anything of note, Alpha? Over.
Nothing yet so far. Over.
You'd be a fool to hand me a radio and not expect at least a few Rogers and over and outs. As the de facto team mom, I just want to make sure everyone gets back to the ship in one piece, conscious or otherwise.
Sorry, what's up? You
Oh, I
saying
was
you
saying
help
I
what?
hope Taryn can teleport their corpses.
Oh,
No!
Metal things.
I think she heard me.
Metal things. Oh, why did you teleport me?
I thought that was the corpse.
I had items.
Shit, sorry.
No.
The main line of communication between the scrap collectors and mission control is the radio. Whoever gets put in charge of the walkie is not only responsible for the group, but also for interpreting the gibberish for mission control. It's a great honor to hold the receiver because the walkie-talkie is often the backbone of an excursion and is what we can all thank for keeping us out of trouble.
It's been an honor.
The honor was all mine.
Finally heard.
Oh, that's enough.
That being said, it's also possibly cursed as whoever holds it in our group almost always wound up dead.
Right here, watch out.
Yeah, watch for that dark spot there.
Stand where. Oh, no, don't.
Don't go. Okay, we just lost Alpha 10.
Or between...
It's you and me.
Depending on the weather, locations can become all the more dangerous. Rain and flooding can make even the friendliest moons into deadly suffocators. Plenty of the scrap we collect is made of metal, so transporting them during a thunderstorm carries a lot of risk. Just try not to be the unfortunate soul caught standing next to someone holding a soda can in the middle of an electrical storm.
I found him on the stairs. I don't know what happened.
Struck by lightning. No! It's time to go.
Out of all the gnarly weather conditions, the most brutal of the bunch is the eclipse. Unfortunately, all the baddies like to come out at night, and during an eclipse, we don't get any daylight to work in. Eclipse missions always start out so optimistically, but always seem to end rather abruptly.
If I die, go.
That was a little dicey, loot.
We left Vin.
No! Nut said if he died to just go.
Why would you leave me?
I'm sorry.
In the grand scheme of things, we're meeting the bare minimum for a quota and not a penny more. Mission Control's super secret real job is staying with the ship, because so long as one person survives, we don't lose all our scrap. The monsters can destroy our bodies, but they'll never destroy our loot. Everyone gather around the table.
Alright, who's gonna say grace?
Of the many things to find for profit in these desolate worlds, some of them we're keeping for ourselves. Money may run the world, but we're not willing to gamble our pickle collection on those odds. Not to mention, hugging the reactor cores helps keep us warm at night.
Part of the crew, part of the ship. I love that we have enough for everyone now.
Living quota to quota can be a little anxiety-inducing, but at least we're all in this together. We may have to watch our friends get mangled and torn apart on the daily, but it just brings us all closer together. Working for the Lethal Company is where bonds are born and relationships are built that can last a lifetime. It may be a harsh and desolate world out there, but if we've learned one thing, it's that love exceeds through hell and labor.
Monkey.
There we go.
Monkey. Monkey. Hey, hey.
Oh, I see. I understand. Money.
Oh my god! Hello! If you're interested in playing games like Lethal Company with us, a link to our Discord is in the description down below. We love to pop in when we can and chat with you all, so if you're watching this on the day of release, consider stopping by to say hi.